Hey everyone, so welcome to our first video blog in 2013. I actually haven't fished for the last 4 months for a very good reason. Our first baby arrived back in November, so I've been very busy with that. And today is going to be my first day wetting my fishing rod, fishing line, and I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to be fishing for Kokanee today, and those are landlocked sockeye salmon. They actually spend their entire life in the lake. They don't go into the ocean due to geographical barriers, and because of that, these fish don't grow very big. The average size of these fish we're catching today are roughly around about 25 to 35 centimeters long, because the amount of food they get in the lake is not as much as what they will get in the ocean. So even though the fish that we catch in this lake are not very big, in some lakes you can actually get them up to 3 or 4 pounds. If you go to lakes in the Okanagan, in Kokanee of British Columbia, they do get pretty big just because there are more food in those lakes, whereas this lake doesn't have as much nutrients that fish can feed on. All right, so let's get going. Because the fish we're catching are not that big, you definitely don't want to use a very thick rod or a very big reel, because that wouldn't be very fun. So what I like to do is I like to always get a spinning rod like this. This is a spinning rod that's rated 2 to 6 pound test, or ultralight trout spinning rod. And you want to couple that with a small reel like this. This is a tiny Shimano Sahara 1000, and it's not a very expensive reel. I do have lots of other more expensive reels, but I seem to be using this reel a lot more because I really love catching trout and kokanee and other smaller species with this reel. And that reel is fitted with 4 pound test line, and just so you can get the most enjoyment out of catching these guys. So the fish that we're targeting today will be hovering around 40 feet, 45 feet deep. So what we're using is actually a bottom rig. I got a float rig set up as well, but a bottom rig like this has a 3-way swivel, and that leads down to a weight about 2 feet down from the swivel, and there's another leader that branches out to the bait. So that will keep the bait hovering just above the bottom if the weight is sitting right on the lake bed. So let's cast this out and just let it sink all the way to the bottom. And we'll hope for the best. So there's also a chance that these fish will be on the surface instead of being on the bottom. So what I usually do is, besides my bottom rig, I have a float rig set up. And this rod here, it's a little longer than the other one. The other one's only 6 foot long. This one is actually 8 foot, just so if I have a fixed float, I can actually extend that float all the way up without worrying the float getting caught up by the rod tip. So the float depth can actually go up to 6-7 feet if I want, but generally you don't need to. Generally you can have your float depth adjust around 5 or 6 feet, and that's adequate enough. But a longer rod also keeps the line between the rod and the float away from the water surface, so your hook set can be a lot better. You can also cast a bit further with a longer rod as well. And again, 4 pound test, spooled on a little reel, and that's what you want to catch these guys. So I saw one jump further down that way, so we may need to put this float out, just see if they're biting on the surface or not. I can actually use 2 rods in the boat by myself, because I'm by myself in the boat. That's the regulation in BC. If you're fishing with more than one person in the boat, you can only use 1 rod per person. But if you're by yourself, you can use 2 rods. yeah, and I don't have a cameraman with me today, so the camera's on the tripod, so I'm just hoping to capture some fish on video for you guys. So the bait that we're using today, and you'll see this again and again in other upcoming videos, just krill. Krill is a crustacean species that's found in the ocean that whales and other fish feed on, and it's a very, very popular bait for kokanee and trout in lakes across British Columbia. So a krill looks like that. That's not its natural color. It's actually dyed red, just so it stands out a little bit better in the water. Now you want to thread your krill on, so just poke it through at one part of the body, so you have a krill like that. So let's chuck this float out as well, just in case the fish are on the surface. And always have a rag with you when you're bait fishing. Some of you might ask, well, why are you bait fishing when you can fly fish and lure fish? And I don't know, I love bait fishing. It's a lot of people say, well, any kids bait fish, but that's the whole point, isn't it? So because when you bait fish, you start feeling like a kid again, because that's what you're starting out with when you first learn how to fish as a kid. Oh, fish. Yeah, I'll try. No, it's not. Is it? No, it's a kokanee. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fat one. This one I did. That's the first one I got on camera, actually. Right. Hello. Wait. Oh, hold on one sec. Fish on. One sec. Fish on. Oh, came off. It's all your fault. Do so. Oh, now the fish on. Bye. Well, that's a coal, isn't it? Yeah. Coal. Easy release. That's a coconut. It's tiny. Felt big first. Oh, that's not. Yeah, that's not too bad actually. Oh, should I keep that? Last one. I don't know. I think it's a coho. Yeah, it's a coho. Little float. Oh, little coho. Oh no, it's a kokanee. Another one. Hey everyone, so the day turned out to be pretty good. The first few hours was quite challenging, trying to get fish on the bottom, but that didn't really pan out. The fish were biting really lightly for a little while and managed to get a couple of fish on the bottom, but then the bite totally died down. But then the fish started biting on the surface. As you can see, just before we were getting fish one after another one on every cast. Just fishing with krill under the float, 3 or 4 feet on the float, and yeah, that saved the day, and I managed to get my limit of kokanee today, limit of 4 fish, so we're having fish for dinner tonight. So this is just a very short video blog, and there's another one coming up in about a week from now. Again, it's float fishing for catchable rainbow trout at Lafarge Lake, so stay tuned for that, and until then, good luck fishing.